Hey guys, Nick here. Welcome to the Omniverse of Nick's next Dragon Ball Z story. What if Pikkon was wished back? And I'm really gonna enjoy doing this because Pikkon's one of my main favorites, and he's actually canon. So, finally, besides small little, things, we are gonna be going into a story about Pikkon. And don't worry, we're going to be seeing a bunch of otherworld characters down the line, but mainly Pikkon. It's also going to go faster than you might think because you got to put Pikkon in the moments where he'll actually matter, but all the same, you're in for a good story. Now, before we get started, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the Omniverse of Nick, and check out the About tab and homepage so you don't miss anything that the past, present, and future of the Omniverse has to offer. With all that said, let's begin. So, for those not familiar, Pikkon is a otherworld warrior from the West Quadrant under the tutelage of the West Kai, and was shown to us in the filler arc of the Otherworld tournament. But considering the fact that Dragon Ball Z Kai showed him and all the other world, including Olibu and multiple others, goes to show that it might not be as filler as we may think. So, either way, he was shown in the Otherworld arc, and he was shown to go with Goku to fix the Otherworld people in hell. And by fix, I mean put them the frick down. Goku put down the Ginyu Force, but when Cell rushed towards him, super perfect Cell, mind you, we saw Pikkon deal with him in two blows. Two blows! He put him in the dirt. And then he squashed Cold and Frieza with one blow. Now, I said that the Otherworld war arc is not as filler as we may think, but considering Frieza's there and it's not in his cocoon, you could either make the argument that he was moved to a cocoon and put as Mecha Frieza, or they just decided as canonizing Pikkon and Lebu and the Otherworld Warriors just to show them off and just change who they are a bit. Since they also didn't fight, it was Krillin and Yamcha that fought him and Kai. So it's to be argued, but for all intents and purposes, we're going to say that Frieza was revoked of his original body in Hell, stuck back as Mecha Frieza, and put in the cocoon. Either way, it really doesn't matter. Frieza is not going to be that involved in the story. And all the other World Hell Warriors were imprisoned. And it was all thanks to Pikkon basically soloing all of them, showing that Goku was not, he didn't need to be there. And then he beat the strongest Otherworld warrior there and the strongest of Universe 7 pretty much under King Kai's tutelage, Olibu. But that is until Goku would fight him as a Super Saiyan. And it would be so one-sided at times, especially when Pikkon showed he had weighted training gear just like Piccolo, that Goku had to pull everything out of the arsenal, and still Pikkon struck back. And this forced Goku to do something he had never done before, and it's still filler pretty much to this day: Super Kaioken. But even with this small advantage, Goku still was not a match. Pikkon's Hyper Tornado, his super speed, like he showed off against Cell, and for small moments against Goku and Olibu, kind of, and his Thunder Flash, the only reason he lost was because he got too attached to the move and gave Goku a chance to actually, like, third times the charm it and use an instant Kamehameha. But he was still much stronger than Goku at the time. Then we get to see him again against Buu, but that didn't really go so well because Kid Buu annihilated everyone there and was ready to destroy the Otherworld planet. But it was all okay in the end. Like I said, it's highly debatable if it's filler or not. We could just say that either Frieza was put in his mecha form and back in the cocoon, or we just canonize them and just show them off as they were in Kai without giving them the character arc that they had and say that it was done like off screen or something. So it really doesn't matter because it's not going to change the whole idea of the story. We're putting in Pikkon's character and everybody else's thing, except we're just making tweaks like Frieza and like small things like that, and like the Super Kaioken to make it work as a cohesive whole. Then we saw him again in an actual movie against Janemba. Now, that didn't go over so well, but he did stall long enough for Goku and Vegeta to fuse. And Pikkon was actually kind of sort of an essential character in this movie. But ever since, we thought that he was going to be in the Tournament of Power, or canonized, or showed off more. All of the Dragon Ball fandom, like Super Saiyan Bardock, this is one of the most highly requested and looked into prospects. And ironically, the Bardock one didn't really get that much attention on my channel, but that's water under the bridge because, I'm not the hugest on YouTube. But huge or not, like Super Saiyan Bardock, this is one of the most highly talked about ideas. Pikkon. You cannot tell me that you are into the Dragon Ball franchise and don't find Pikkon the least bit entertaining, because it's just, Pikkon is an amazing character. And what we've also wanted to see is Pikkon interact with or meet or fight Piccolo, which has also been done and talked about numerous amounts of times. And we actually got to see it in fruition in Super Dragon Ball Heroes, kind of at the end of Super Dragon Ball Heroes, because it only had up to 5 arcs, and this was basically the last one. And we got to see little small pickets of Pikkon versus Piccolo. So even if the main anime never gave it to us yet, we got to see it in Super Dragon Ball Heroes, which is basically giving every single Dragon Ball fan what they want, except for like 2 seconds. And just ever since, we have wanted to see more done with Pikkon and actually give him a chance and showcase him as a great character, what we know that he is. Games have shown it, people have talked and like debated about it. We've just wanted to see it happen. So what if it did? What if Pikkon was actually wished back and given a chance? Now, I'm not going to be going into the whole, like, oh, who killed him shtick, like the whole Jiren's master thing, and I talk about that at the end of the story. But who knows? I could do that in the way future, like future story stuff. But we're going to see if Pikkon being wished back would be, like, the greatest thing that ever happened and would actually give meaning and justification for his character, or if it would be the worst mistake ever made. Let's dive in. We just end the Otherworld tournament, and Goku's talking about going to the World Tournament and coming back for a day. But then it hits him. Goku starts having his brain rack and he's thinking about something. And then it hits him. And he's like, what if we wished Pikkon back and he could come back? I know that I won't be able to and that I don't want to, but giving Pikkon a chance? Yeah. After the Otherworld tournament, I say that giving someone here a chance to finally be wished back to life is truly a present for whenever I come back. And King Kai is like, are you crazy? And he actually attacks Goku. You want to bring back a opponent just because you liked fighting him? You screwed up your own whole lesson with the Grand Kai because of him, and he is not our friend, Goku. I get it, you like him, but have I forgot to mention enough to you? He is West Kai's warrior. Even if you did bring him back, he doesn't belong in the North Quadrant. He belongs in the West Quadrant. This would never fly. And Goku's like, it has to, right? I mean, if King Yemma and everybody likes me so much, I don't want to take advantage of that, but I know Pikkon. And it was a great fight, and I know how good of a person he is. Plus, I think that in my absence, while Gohan and everybody else are more than capable, we need another warrior on Earth. We need to make sure that if I don't come back, someone else is there. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, King Kai. I think that after all these years, dependent on how long Pikkon has been here, he deserves a chance. And who knows? Maybe people like Alubu and others can be given a chance. And King Kai's like, okay, but it's not like King Yema's or anyone's just gonna let it fly, especially the other Kais. Surely they'll want to keep their warriors around in Otherworld. Otherwise, all their training will have been for nothing. You gotta think about that. Some of them are in debt to the Grand Kai, and a lesson for them. Being wished back might prohibit them from getting the strength that they deserve. If they die, it will just be like you guys all the time. You always get out of it's like a get out of jail free card. But you chose to stay here. How do you know that Pikkon and others won't choose to stay at and do their own thing? And Goku's like, there's only one way to find out. So Goku and Pikkon interact and come face to face with each other. And they have a long talk. And when Pikkon hears about all of what Goku's talking about, he is very surprised to even hear the consideration of bringing him back to life. Is that even possible? And Goku's like, oh yeah, on our planet, and our planet Namek, we have these things called the Dragon Balls. It can bring anyone back with a single wish. We've got a lot more on our table with more wishes now, because of a new Guardian of Earth. But I know that I'm not going back. I'm only going back for a day. But for one thing, I think you of all people deserve a chance to finally get back in the world of the living, Pikkon. You more than anyone, especially because of our amazing fight. You deserve that. And who knows? Maybe we talk to the Grand Kai and other Kais about getting more people on board in the future. Just as long as it's not too much on King Yemma and the Kais. Especially don't want to upset the Grand Kai. If you want to stay here and train with the Grand Kai still, I won't stop you, but just thought it was a really good idea. You deserve it. Pikkon sits and thinks on it for a long moment. He's like, he hasn't been back in the world of the living for years. Like, decades. And it's like, even hearing the mention of being brought back to life throws him for a loop. But he does smile and he does agree. Because all of what Goku's saying makes sense. And Grand Kai might be losing a very essential warrior to fight and keep the warriors in hell in check. But for one thing, they have a legion of other world warriors. Number two, Goku said he ain't leaving. He's only going back for a day. And he knows that, like, someone will take his place. Shenron is summoned, and Pikkon is wished back. His halo dissipates, and he is so surprised that he almost just passes out from shock. He's no longer dead. He's alive again. And it's like, what? Goku cannot be happier to see his new otherworld friend alive again. And it slightly upsets him that he has chosen his route, but he made his decision. So, with Goku's one-day reprieve and Pikkon being wished back, they return with fortune teller Baba, but Pikkon's no longer restricted. And everybody reunites with Goku. And then they all stare and smile at Pikkon. And this definitely weirds out Pikkon, because this is definitely not the West Quadrant. But Pikkon decides because of the generosity and Goku has given him, he's going to stay in the North Quadrant. The West Quadrant wouldn't really be any worth to him anymore anyway, because what's the point in going back there if he's just possibly going to die? Like I said, future story for a different time to discuss like a fan made killer of Pikkon or something. Or maybe they'll actually do it in the future. I don't know. It's up to people who actually want to dive into that. And then Pikkon and Piccolo face off. And they talk about Goku and how Goku suggested that the two of them meet. And they talk about everything Otherworld Tournament, Cell, who Piccolo used to be, their alikeness, the weighted training gear, everything that makes them who they are. And both of them are amazed to see two creatures so alike and yet much different, especially Pikkon from the West Quadrant. And then Pikkon talks about the Grand Kai. And since Piccolo is like getting like Kai information from Pikkon, because Goku didn't tell him anything about that until they figured out about the Supreme Kai. And this is actually going to change a tiny bit whenever the Supreme Kai actually comes into play. Then Pikkon gets to meet Goku's children, Goten and Gohan. And this just amazes Pikkon. He would have never expected the North Quadrant to have so much. Goku has really made an impact. And then we get to the children's division. Trunks beats Goten and Hercule effortlessly. I say effortlessly, but it's basically Trunks and Goten the same fight. And we obviously know how the fight with Hercule goes. And then Supreme Kai and Kibito are shown, and then Piccolo's like, suspicions are beginning to get to him. And he's like, with it getting stronger, it took him until being in the ring with the Supreme Kai to start to like think, oh, is he the Grand Kai? And then get thrown aback. But since Pikkon has told him Kai information from the source, he asks Pikkon directly, was that the Grand Kai? Pikkon and Goku are like, nope. We don't know who that is yet. But I have a feeling we're going to figure it out here pretty soon. Vegeta is actually getting a first field view of Pikkon and is like, there's much more to this warrior Pikkon than meets the eye. But he's not showing anger or jealousy. He's just overall curious. And then Krillin beats Pintar, and then we get to a fight everyone with Pikkon's character has wanted to see, that we got to see in the exact anime that this picture is shown, and in the second match of the adult division, Pikkon versus Piccolo. With Kai information switched, a new direction for the Buu arc, and Pikkon wished back but Goku staying dead, and the Otherworld warriors and just everything thrown into a certain kind of packaged deal. What is going to happen in this direction of Pikkon's story? How is his character going to affect future arcs? And what can we hope to see from Pikkon himself personally and the dynamic with especially Piccolo and Goku? Find out.